Hooray for Hollywood! Hello there, I am Stan the Movie Man, and this is my monthly WIMZ.com movie review. This month, I went to see Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. It stars Joe Alwyn, Kristen Stewart, Chris Tucker, Garrett Hedlund, Vin Diesel, Steve Martin, and more. It is the story of a group of soldiers referred to popularly as Bravo Company. They were ambushed in Iraq, and the actions of one of them, William Lynn, played by Joe Alwyn, led to him being awarded the Silver Star. But in that attack, their commanding officer, who went by the nickname Shroom, played by Vin Diesel, died. Now they are at a Thanksgiving Day football game in Texas, and they're going to be sort of the centerpiece of the halftime show. And there's a lot of stuff going on around them. They're trying to get a movie deal. They're kind of an agent, if you will. A guy named Albert, played by Chris Tucker, is constantly on the phone trying to arrange to sell their story. And they are hosted at this football game in Texas by the owner of the team, a billionaire by the name of Norm Oglesby, played by Steve Martin. And aside from all of the things going on around them, there is also the fact that they're dealing with what they've gone through in Iraq. And the movie is directed by Ang Lee, and while I'm glad there is a movie about the emotional stress and toll on American soldiers once they have come home, I'm not entirely sure this is the best movie for that subject. Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk feels kind of gimmicky in that a lot of the time characters, when they're making a point, when they're talking to each other, look directly into the camera. They're not in the shot with the person they're talking to. A lot of times in films, they'll talk slightly off to one side from the camera, like they're looking at somebody and talking to them. But in this instance, a lot of the time, the character is looking directly into the camera, and it gets a little off-putting. Also, there's everybody around these soldiers is trying to use them in some way, either to make money off of them, to get publicity off of them, to bask in the glow of their heroism, or whatever. All of that weighs very heavily on the story, and I think kind of drags it down a bit, because there's just so much going on in these soldiers' lives, and now on top of that, they are being chewed up in the publicity machine as they're going around the country and they're going around the country doing publicity stops, and they're also dealing with the loss of Shroom, their commanding officer. And there are a lot of unanswered questions in this movie, and it just feels kind of confused and a mishmash. I didn't mind that it jumped back and forth in time between when he was in Iraq and right as he came home. And they're going to have to go back. That's part of the story as well. And his sister, played by Kristen Stewart, her name in the film is Catherine, wants him to go see a psychiatrist and be able to stay home because of PTSD, which is also a factor in the film as well. The film is just very jumbled. It's trying to I think, tell an interesting story, and a story that needs to be told, but this movie is in this movie, the story is it's like watching a blender at full speed, because things are just flying around everywhere, storylines, and characters and questionable motivations and all of this stuff. And it's a difficult watch at times simply because it comes off a little bit silly at times. So, there are some good performances in it. Steve Martin is terrific as Norm Oglesby, who kind of is the bad guy of the piece in parts of the piece. There's also a Dallas Cowboys, at least that's who they're supposed to be, cheerleader named Faison, played by Mackenzie Lee, who strikes up a relationship with Billy, and her performance is just wide-eyed, and she's just supposed to be the innocence, and I believe to represent the ideal of American femininity. And I don't know, the movie doesn't work for me because it just feels like a big sort of thrown together mess of ideas, and maybe they should have just stuck with one idea and carried that through the whole film as the focal point, instead of throwing about a dozen different stories at us all at the same time. Film doesn't work for me, although there are some good performances in it. It just does not play out the way I think it should, and that's why I'm giving Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk 2 guitars. Go to WIMZ.com, look for the blog section, and you can see my complete written review there. You can see my weekly reviews at StanTheMovieMan.com. You can follow me on Twitter at MovieManStan, and you can send emails to me, StanTheMovieMan@Comcast.net. Till next time, toodles.